Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Albers, and welcome to This Week in Anderson on the Big Eye Sports Podcast on USBN Sports. And this podcast is sponsored by Summit Estates in Anderson Township, McNick grad Jim Surger. His latest book, 9/11, A Time to Always Remember, is on sale now nationwide. Over 90 Americans from coast to coast are in this book, including folks from McNick, Turpin, Anderson, including Steve and myself, hosts of USBN Sports, and they're available where books are sold or jimsurger.com. And as always, join me as my co-host, Steve Ellis. And Steve, our next guy is a guy we know very well, the big brother, Mike Moose Albers, and we're excited to finally get him on. I know we've been trying to figure out when we were going to get him on. Actually, I just delayed it just to make him mad.
I know that's the brotherly love.
Exactly, because just remember all the times growing up. So, but it's going to be great to hear his stories on growing up and everything. But then also, I want to see is his stories the same as mine on how he got the nickname Moose.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah, so
that'd be good. Well, it's great that we have him on, because ever since, going back to middle school, freshman year, when he was a senior, all of us looked up to Moose.
Absolutely.
And I always watched how he played and wanted to imitate Moose, and I always looked up to him as a big brother. Yep. In lots of ways, and I think he took care of us as a big brother as well.
He really did. So it's nice to have that big brother, as it was with your brothers too. So it's nice to always have that. We were in the middle. We had the young. Well, you didn't. I had the younger ones, but it was great. So as we said, joining us is my brother Moose. Thanks for joining us there, Moosey. Finally got you on here.
Yeah, I'm not sure he should be on here.
Oh, come on now.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Come on now. All right, well, we're going to do this to Steve just to tick him off.
Summit Estates was the greatest place to live.
I'm out. Jesus. We've had one guest since, but we had a run of like 15 in a row.
So just let's go into that. I always know that our neighborhood growing up was probably hands down one of the best neighborhoods, but not only on the side of Summit that we're in, but we also had like Sean Burdick and the Benassis and all of them. So just talk a little bit about growing up.
I'll go back to when we were on Linderwood.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Linderwood for me was Jeff Carlton, Brent Hannick, Artie Bolger, and then some guy that lived on Pine Bluff named Tim Ferguson.
Wow.
So I got to shoot basketball with him. Yeah. But Brent Hannick and Jeff Carlton I was younger, so I got to play with all those older kids, which is great. So that kind of gave me my confidence. But living in Summit in Clemson was awesome. Probably the best thing was the parents on our street.
Yeah.
They supported us. They came to our games. Whatever we wanted, whatever he needed, they were always there. So.
Well, just talking about that in Linderwood was kind of funny that because Steve lived over on, so when we were on Linderwood, when we were moving there, they were just building that section where you lived at.
Right.
They were just building that. And you know what I remember about that is going over that one house that kind of went in, and we would always take rocks
and throw it at it.
And that's what I remember.
Was that my house?
No.
I wish it was, but no, it wasn't.
Well, Jeff Carlton, when that tore down, I went over to Twin Fair, and he threw me in the. So he put me in the dumpster because there was a golf bag in there, and it had wheels, and we took it out because we put it in his backyard, and that's where he put all the baseball bats. So instead of carrying them in, he rolled them in and out.
That's great. That's awesome. That's awesome.
But living in Summit was great because if you didn't have a practice, you had a practice. You would run up to Summit or Julius or the Firehouse, and you would always go. Even T-ball. What was that?
Or Nagel Park?
No,
but there was.
It's right
over by Bueller's. It was right by Bueller's.
Oh yeah.
There was that
the field,
park,
whatever that's called.
Yeah, there was T-ball. Yeah. So you would always go somewhere. You'd always find somebody.
Yeah.
And it was great.
So I try to remember if we asked Timmy this, but when you guys moved to Linderwood, how old were you?
I was 3, 4.
Okay.
So Timmy wasn't. Timmy never lived there.
He moved in Clemson.
Yeah, he was born in Clemson.
76.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be honest. I don't even remember moving over to Clemson. I mean, I vaguely remember moving over to Clemson.
So why did you move over to Clemson? Just a bigger house?
Bigger house.
Yeah. That was the whole, because the house was a ranch, 2-bedroom,
no air conditioning.
No air conditioning.
That's why we moved. We moved to the bigger house because it had air conditioning.
And it was
wow.
The Linderwood, the one thing about it was a nice backyard.
Oh, it was a great backyard, yeah.
And the one thing that was good was butted up to the lobbies. Bart Lobby.
Bart Lobby.
I love Bart Lobby. Me and Bart were really, really close back in the day. Okay. Jeez. As Big I would say, Bart the Fart.
Bart the Fart.
Bart the Fart. Yeah. That's a good thing to be known for.
As your little kid calls, your neighbor calls you Bart the Fart.
Yeah. So, Moose, and we got to get to that question about how that came about, but Moose, growing up, what sports did you play in the youth?
Soccer, baseball, basketball.
Okay, so I had heard some rumors, and I don't know if it's in the Mount Washington Press or whatever, that you were, in the words of Danny, a phenomenal soccer player.
I was okay.
He was okay.
Come on now.
So, first of all, who'd you play for?
Mr. Burkhart.
What was awesome. The team? What was the team?
The Hornets. The Hornets.
Yes. And how long did you play?
I played all the way through high school with him.
Really? So why do you play for the high school team?
Because when I played with Steve Lowe, and he was on our team.
Okay.
And I saw how good he was.
Okay.
And then when I saw Dave Lang and all those guys, I'm like, there's no way.
Moose, you don't give yourself enough credit.
Oh, there's no way.
So you're talking about like the Mark Wolfsons and...
Mark Wolfson, Todd Hay. Well, on my team, so the 1 year on our team was the Nabs.
Yeah.
Frank Brandy.
Yep.
Craig Stevenson. And when I saw the Nabs, I was like, "There's no way."
Yeah,
there's just no way.
They were pretty good, huh?
They were. You would kick the ball to them on the wing, and they would just take off and go.
Yeah, that's some speed. All right. So what else did you play? You said
baseball and basketball.
Baseball and basketball. So let's talk about baseball. Who'd you play for?
My dad.
Your dad. What's the name of the team?
Connecticut General.
CG. Connecticut General.
He was.
They have stripes.
Oh, we were
everything.
We had home and away jerseys. We were like the Phillies.
What?
Yeah. Big Eye. No.
Big Eye home and away.
Yeah. Big Eye was ahead of his time with this. So we had pinstripe jerseys and pants. We had the solid red jerseys. We had jackets.
It's big time.
Big Eye was
sponsored by New Tone or what?
Yeah.
No. Guy by the name of Mike Weiner. It was Weiner. Owned Connecticut General, had something with Connecticut General, and his kids were on the team.
Oh,
so so I did that up till Big Eye quit. Did that for 2 years, and then he took Danny and those guys.
Okay.
And I played for somebody else.
Okay.
Who'd you play for?
So I played for Mr. Herrick because he took over the team.
Mr. Herrick, yeah.
And then in 7th and 8th grade, I played for Mr. Gott, G.A. Philippi Fannons.
I do remember that.
So that
I do that.
So then I played freshman year with Big Guy. I played a year up with Fritz.
Right.
Rob Merritt.
Oh, yeah.
And we were the
Wilson Pirates.
And we had uniforms exactly like the Pirates.
Oh, no kidding.
Black pants, yellow tops.
Oh my gosh.
I think I was the bat boy on that one.
Well, that might have been around the period, right?
Right. Oh, it was great. I mean,
Willie Sturgill and
that was the year they won. It was my freshman
79.
year. So 79.
Yeah.
And that was all, you guys played all over the place, if I remember right.
You know what Big Guy what his thing was? When we had a home game, he would get Mr. McManus, Mr. Serger, all these guys would come in and pitch batting practice to us before the game because they thought it was could get us. And
wow. Yeah. That's funny.
But that was kind of cool for you to play with Fritz.
I played with him twice. I played with him in D1.
Yeah, so Fritz and then Rob Merritt, Ivan,
Gary Van Camp.
And Larry Chericosta. I don't know why I remember that name. Larry
How in the world did you come up with that?
Yeah, I just remember.
And Rosie,
yeah, I remember Rosie.
Larry Chericosta, I'll tell you a funny story about him. First game, played at McNick. He's pitching. Big Guy takes him out. Larry goes, "Hey, can I come out and take my contacts out?" Big Guy goes, "Sure, go ahead." We only took one contact out.
Okay.
He's a left-hander. He took this contact out.
Whoops.
So he goes to the outfield, and me and this other guy are looking, that's not right.
Yeah.
Larry was a really good football player. He was a really, really good football player.
At Anderson or?
At McNick.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All right, so you played basketball. When did you start playing, and who'd you play for?
5th grade. So I played 5th and 6th for a guy named Minor Hampton.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I played with him.
Baseball for Post 18.
So I played with him for 2 years. 7th grade, I don't remember who I played for. I can't think of the guy's name.
Isn't that funny?
And then 8th grade, I tried out for the basketball team.
Was that Frickman?
Yes, he was awesome. He taught me 2 things that I will never forget. I was telegraphing every pass. And he goes, do me a favor, go in the car with your dad. When you sit in the front seat, stare at something and then start using your vision so you're not looking straight ahead at one person. I'm like, so I would get in the car and I would do that.
So that's why you ignored the big guy, looked at a different direction when he was yelling at you. I got it now. Because of Jerry Frickman.
That and moving, and then how you just can't sit in one spot and hope the ball comes to you. You have to move to get your shot. So Mr. Frickman was awesome.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
Jerry Frickman. But it's just funny when you say you start playing basketball in 5th grade. That's when I started playing too, because they didn't have anything.
Right. I actually played in 4th. I don't know how that happened. So I played 4th, 5th, and 6th with Mr. Hampton. I have no idea how I didn't. I don't know if big guy lied and got me in. I have no idea.
Sure, I got you in.
I'm sure he did.
So, was there any thoughts at all? I mean, I know you must have been Pele back then, but was there any thoughts at all of playing football?
No. When I graduated from high school, I was 5'10", 170.
See, I don't picture that. I don't picture that.
That's a starting line.
If you were 170, you were a solid 170.
When you look at Dan Simmons, Tony,
Randy
Corbett.
Yeah,
I was nowhere near those guys.
But you were a good athlete, though.
Yeah. I mean,
you could have done something.
Where was
you could have caught a pass?
Yeah, you could have played. You could have played defensive back. You played defensive back. You could have played.
They had Chris Ingles.
I know, but still, you don't give yourself enough credit.
Those guys are pretty good.
Give yourself enough credit.
All right, so let's get into high school there, Moose, and let's talk about baseball.
Okay.
Because I can remember vividly you playing senior year.
Yes.
But
and there's a story to that. I wasn't going to play baseball.
Okay, so that's what I want to ask about. So, are you saying you didn't play until your senior year?
Didn't play until my senior year.
Wait a minute, hold on a minute. So this guy who went on to play professional softball.
Professional
softball.
Right.
Unbelievable hitter.
Absolutely.
Are you telling me you didn't play till your senior year?
Nope. And wasn't going to play my senior year.
Okay, so give us what happened.
So I was played in the summer. Always played baseball in the summer.
Yep.
Wasn't going to play because I was just tired. I was thinking about going to spring break. Senior year, go to Florida for spring break.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So Tony Diana came up in my room, picked me up, put me over his shoulder, carried me out to the car. My mom was sitting there. I think it was arranged. Was sitting there with my glove and bat, and he took me to tryouts. You're going to tryouts. I'm like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
And he goes, just go, just do it once. That's all. So all right. So I went. Brad was coaching.
Yeah.
Go into batting practice, hit really well. And I'm like, well, fielding is going to be easy for me. Went in and Mr. Moore goes, why haven't you never played high school baseball? And I said, I played during the summer. I just didn't want to play. I was not a fan of some of the coaches. So that's what previous coaches. And probably because what they did to Fretz. And probably my biggest thing, I was chicken.
Okay.
I was chicken.
So we owe Tony Diana for this baseball.
Tony Diana, yeah. He was the one who he literally picked me up on his shoulder, carried me down the steps.
Wow.
Dago.
Put me in
I can see that too.
Put me in his van.
Yeah.
And said, just come one day.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Moore's like, well, why didn't you try? Why haven't you ever played? So
because you had a good season, I thought.
Yeah.
I did until I tore the ligaments in my hand.
Okay.
And my batting, but I had a really good season. I had so much fun senior year playing baseball. I mean, so much fun.
Well, who all played with you?
So it was, I can tell you our line, it was Kenny Hornsmeyer caught, Jerry Wolf
Big boy.
Tom Corona at first,
me
at second, Mike Wan at short, Butch Stoneman at third,
Little Butch.
Tony and Terry Brennan played left field.
Okay.
Steve Masterson played center.
Yeah.
And Tom Haywood played right.
Wow.
And it was, but what made it was Tony and Mike Wan. Tony and Mike Wan, unbelievable. The conversations Mike Wan and I would have in the middle of the infield, just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Well, I remember some of the bus rides in the back of the bus.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how I got back there, but I got back there for a couple of them.
So, Mike, I think you guys talked about this with Jerry.
Yeah.
So, we had a game against Elder. Jerry threw 6 curveballs in a row. Have no idea. Tony whistles in the outfit. He goes, guys, he's throwing curveballs. And we're like, Mike looks at me, and I'm like, well, you're the captain. Go say something. So we get out of the inning. Tony comes up, and he's like, he's throwing 6 curveballs. What is he doing?
Yeah.
So Mike goes, well, you go talk to him.
Yeah.
Doesn't talk to him. Starts the next inning, 2 curveballs in a row.
Okay.
Mike goes, I'm calling timeout. You got to come with me. I'm like, all right. So we go up there, and he goes, Jerry, what are you doing? That's 7 curveballs in a row.
Yeah.
Jerry hands him the ball, and he goes, it's a wide seam baseball. I don't have to torque my arm so much. The ball's going to curve natural. When we get in the 5th and 6th inning, they ain't going to touch my fastball. Mike Wan, no kidding, gives the ball back. Now there's 30 scouts behind home plate.
Okay.
Mike goes, well, they're here to see you, not us. So we went back to our positions.
That's awesome.
We will resume the position.
Yes, but that's the only reason I played senior year.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's really cool.
Reason.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah, I did too. Mike Wan and Tony made it. I mean, and Butch Stoneman too.
Yeah, old Butch Stoneman. I'll tell you what, I remember Butch back in the days of CG when he went on.
He was a CG and Joe Huber.
Joe Huber. Then you had
Joe Huber, who still has.
Well, Mike Fancher playing on it for a little bit.
Mike Fancher, Rocky Legman. Todd Kiersey.
So Steve, I got a story about this. So I loved Rocky Legman. He's one of my favorite players on this team.
Yeah.
And my dad would let me go over there and try to practice or do whatever and screw around with the guys. And I remember saying I was going to knock Rocky down or something like that. I came home, I went into Rocky, and I went flying back. Rocky back then was just, still a big dude, but it was just fun to be around those guys and watching it. And when I got into high school, then obviously kind of like with your brothers, just treated me like I was one of them,
Right.
So it was really cool.
And Joe Huber, according to Big Eye, still has the greatest catch ever in baseball.
So where he closes his eyes and catches
his eyes.
Oh, stop.
We were beating Midland, and a guy hits his ball out to left field, and I'm like, oh, and I'm pitching.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, this is way over. And Joe was really fast, and he jumped up and caught it, and he's looking around for the ball.
Oh no.
And we're yelling, it's in your glove.
Oh my God.
So anytime there was a great catch in baseball, Big Guy goes, did you see that catch?
The Joe Huber.
And we would talk about the catch, and he goes, Joe Huber still has the greatest catch ever. All right.
That's awesome. I remember some of the things that Big Guy used to say, and I remember he would try to get, this is another bad thing that I'm going to say, but he would try to get Bart to hit, and he told him there's a ham sandwich going to be waiting for him at home.
Well, you know what he did with Rocky? He told Rocky to, guy strikes out, hold the ball up in his face.
Oh God.
Oh, Big Guy. I know the stories are coming up.
Straight from Purcell.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we talked about Jerry Wolf a little bit, and we obviously interviewed him, and it was a really good interview to listen to what he had to say. So you talked about that game. How fun was it to watch Jerry Wolf pitch?
It was amazing. He was the only guy in that Elder game, in the last inning, he told me to move 2 steps to my left and come in 2 steps. The guy was going to hit a weak ground ball to me.
He did.
Never had that happen before in my life.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, he was automatic. Like we beat Elder. We had a week off because it poured down rain. We never played. We come back. He pitches a no-hitter against Northwest.
Wow.
Jeez.
There was only 1 hit that game.
Yeah.
Steve Masterson hit a triple.
Wow.
And we won on a balk.
Wow, that's
because
crazy.
The pitchers, the guy that was the coach at Roger Bacon.
Oh, Jerry told this story, or Tony did. I think
Bill
maybe
Brewer,
Tony. Yeah.
He was pitching, and the wind blew, and he stopped. And that's how we won. We won 1-0.
One of those guys told that story. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So before you get into the basketball, I want to ask about, because you had an unbelievable career in softball.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit how all that started and how it got to the point where you were playing at such a high level and competitively.
So Big Eye had some friends who still played softball down in Norwood.
Okay.
It was the St. Elizabeth Church League. It wasn't really a church league, but that's what it was called.
Yep.
Tom Reichert, good friend of Big Eye's.
Yep.
I don't know how that worked. I don't know if they talked. So he calls me, "You want to play on Monday nights?" I said, "Sure, I'll come down after baseball's done." Okay. So I went down. I actually came down after we had a game, and you came with me. Yeah. And we went down, and I played, and I got hooked right from the get-go.
Okay.
So I played Mondays, and I started started making somewhat of a name for myself. So I was playing Mondays and Wednesdays with Grony.
Yeah.
Over there in Norwood?
Over in Norwood.
Okay.
And Waterworks was Wednesday.
Upper Millcrest
was.
Okay. Yeah.
And then after that, I played way too much. At one point, for 3 years in a row, I played 6 nights a week. Yeah. And that's not including tournaments.
Right.
So I was playing Monday, twice on Tuesday, Wednesday,
twice on Thursday.
3 times on Thursday because I was in a doubleheader league with Kinker.
And you played with us too.
With you guys.
That's right.
And they rearranged the schedule so I wouldn't have to miss.
Yeah.
And then Friday nights and Sunday nights and then tournaments. I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
I got hooked on it. Once I started playing with Grony, the one thing I always appreciate about Grony, when I played, even when we played on Monday nights, if I did something, if I did something that was questionable, he would always walk up to me and goes, what were you thinking? He would go, what were you thinking on that? And I would say something, he goes, okay. He never questioned me. Right. He always told me if I did good.
Grony was the all-time best.
He was the best, yeah.
Especially when we played at Softball City and won that tournament.
Jesus. I'm still scarred from that day.
Pop a shot.
So, but when I started playing, I started somewhat making a name for myself.
Yeah.
Got lucky. When I played in the Open, my first major Open, I played with Beachmont Billiards. Scared to death.
Yeah. Played Jays
in the first game. That was the year of the restricted flight ball, so there was no real home runs. And they had that pitcher, Jim Burbrink. Yeah. Still, to this day, still intimidates me. Yeah. Because he jumped. I've never had a pitcher jump at me before. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
And we won. I've never played in that.
5-4, wasn't it?
3-2.
3-2.
Never played in that in front of that many people in softball ever.
Yeah. We
won the game. Bob Owens goes, wear your shirts. Don't take your shirts off. Wear them all day if you're planning on staying. He had an RV out in the parking lot. He goes, you got to stay, wear your shirts all day. And we're like, why? You ain't going to pay for a beer the whole night. People are going to buy you beers because you beat Jay.
That's exactly
wow.
Right.
Never paid for a beer that whole night.
Is that right?
Never paid for a beer that whole night.
It's probably hard to explain to some people that don't, didn't play softball or understand that, but just the feeling and the fun you have. Oh. I mean, people talk about playing in high school or college and in the locker rooms and stuff like that. Softball was so fun, and I can only imagine amping it up like you did.
Well, I will still say this: the 2 most fun tournaments I've ever played in, Softball City, Muncie.
I was gonna say Muncie. Muncie was the best.
So I just talked about how competitive you played. It was 2 shit tournaments.
No, Muncie. There's just so many different stories. There's so many different stories.
You're right.
So everybody that doesn't know, we all played together in Muncie, and we also played at Softball City together. So before he became the big time that he was,
Moose was here. We were here.
He played with us, which I was going to get ready to say something about. The best times I had early were with you and Ty Burdick on our team. Yeah. That was just an absolute blast.
Softball City was so much fun. Denny Peters. When he said after he saw Boomer throw the ball over the back,
all the way over. Yeah.
He said, "I'm done. I'm in beer drinking mode," and he never played. To after we won and we were all buying individual beers afterwards, and Tom Benassi went up and bought a whole 12-pack, and we're like, "How'd you do that?" "Well, I just asked for a 12-pack." To full shot, pop a shot, full contact, pop a shot.
That was full contact.
But Muncie.
That's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole.
There's so many stories on that one.
That was so much fun.
That was. But a memory that I will never forget, and I'm sure you'll probably remember this, is when Moose was playing, the big softball. Yeah. And it's still, again, at this time, it was packed at the Metro, packed.
Yep.
And we had a game on one of the bigger fields. So when you walked into the thing, it was the one to the right, the one to the left. Yep. And we were playing a game, we were losing, and we came back in the last inning, and Moose and all them were going to play right after us. And I remember Brian Jones caught this ball, jumped up, caught a ball or something, I remember. And then we got a hit to win it. And when we scored, these guys, him, Burdick, all those guys come running in and they were excited for it.
Right.
That was cool for me, seeing all those guys and all his friends come and support. And that's what we did. We supported Moose.
It was so fun.
I mean, it was so the greatest. It was one of the greatest times.
Oh, absolutely.
It was. Softball was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I met a lot of good friends with it.
mean, my wife says that's why I was single till I was 32.
Exactly.
So was I. So was I.
I mean,
especially playing softball 6 nights a week.
I don't think I'd change a thing.
I wouldn't either. I mean, it was just, just
Muncie. Muncie, in every tournament I've ever played in, and I think I counted them. I've played in 13 or 14 states in softball.
Yeah.
Oof.
Muncie,
God, that's awesome.
by far, was the most fun I ever
From the
had.
drive up there,
all the way.
which was an experience.
As soon as we pulled in the hotel, there's a room with windows open, curtains blowing, and somebody's got someone's got eye black all over. You guys are playing goal line football in the hotel room.
It was,
and it went from there.
Well, and not only that, but the run that we went on.
Yes.
We went all the way through it undefeated, and we lose the last 2 games. I just can't believe it. We went all the way, but we sat forever.
Yeah.
Well, I was just with Tony and Stacy last week, and they were talking about that, and we were talking about how many times we had to pull over on the side of the highway because we were cramping.
Oh yeah.
And I was one of them.
Yeah.
But
it was fun. It was just so much fun.
Muncie was by far the best.
Those were the best. I mean, that was good.
Yes.
So let's get into your basketball career, and you played at Anderson, arguably when it was one of probably the best times to play basketball at Anderson. Just that atmosphere, everything that was going on. Talk what it was like for you playing during that time.
It was amazing. Freshman year, they were okay, but they had Ferguson, Dayton, Dunaway, Evans, Jeff Harris, Joe Schott. They had them all coming up. Plus, you had Dan Fleming, Cameron DeVente, all those guys. So my sophomore, I'll tell you the story. Sophomore year was when they really got on a roll, and it was amazing because the whole community was big into this.
Turned up.
We played Oak Hills at Oak Hills. I think that was the game Frank won after I've grown.
Yep.
We won the game. Before the game, reserves warming up.
Yeah.
We go in the locker room. I'll say this. John Deeds, remember when they had those big orange, Go Big Orange cards? It was like business cards.
Yeah.
And it said Go Big Orange and had the picture of the team.
Okay.
John Deeds handed one to Hep Cronin.
Oh, no.
I'm pretty sure he did.
That's awesome.
But after the game, they won, and you know how JV, you want to get out and get on the bus?
Right.
Yeah.
We couldn't get out. They said, you have to stay in the locker room. I'm like, why? And you open the door, and all the Oak Hills fans are lined in the hallway. We had to get a police escort out of the building.
Yeah, it was
because
nuts.
We won.
It was so.
But those 2 years, my sophomore and junior year, were amazing.
All right, so freshman year, was that did you play for Letterby?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Letterby, and we had our star player, Steve Jarvie. And then he got called up to JV like 5 or 6 games left to go in the year.
Okay.
So he went up there, and
I know Frickman always talked about him.
Steve Jarvie was unbelievable.
Yeah.
He can shoot. He can do everything. He was everything.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, just to give you an idea. My 8th grade year, you had Steve Jarvie, Steve Peterson, Denny Gates. Denny Gates went to Summit Country Day.
Yep.
Steve Peterson moved. Jarvie moved after our freshman year. So I got lucky in that aspect because I think if those 3 guys come to Anderson, I don't play.
Wow.
I don't play. Steve Peterson was pretty good. Steve Jarvie was unbelievable.
So sophomore year,
Mr. Center, the man.
Well, I mean, what can you say?
He was so much. I learned so much basketball from him.
Yep.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, it was unbelievable how much I learned from that man.
Me and Danny talk about all the time when we interview people we unfortunately didn't get to play for him, and we really wish we would have.
He was great.
Yeah.
He had that sense of humor about him.
Yeah.
And then he would crack that little smile.
Oh yeah.
And you just kind of knew, but he was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, the passing game, learning. I knew what a back door was.
Yeah.
I had no idea how to set up your guy.
Yeah.
Do this, do that. That made sense to me.
Yeah.
That made perfect sense to me. So Mr. Center was awesome. I played for him for 2 years. I played him my junior year too on JV.
So when Dayton and all those guys, I mean they had like 9 seniors, 10 seniors or whatever.
And the sophomore class was weak, so they kept me, Dave Lang, John Metter, Chuck Leeson. and I think Ray Miller was on that team too.
Okay.
So they kept us, and we played.
Okay.
And which was the greatest thing. It was a great thing for me my junior year. I got to scrimmage against the number one team in the city.
Yep.
Get my brains beat in, and I got to play every day.
Yeah. Right.
Which was great. So that helped me out a lot.
So then you go into your senior year,
Gordon,
and unfortunately, Coach Sanders moves on. Yeah, and so which is a scary time, like when you coach. Obviously, he's watched you, play
we all wanted center. We all wanted center.
And so then naturally, you're
everybody
thinking everybody except for the superintendent at the time. And which was just crazy because it was a natural transition.
Right, and Gordon was great. I liked playing for Gordon.
Yep.
I don't know who said this at the time. I don't know if it was Kevin Dostal. I don't know if it was Dave Giglio. I don't know who said it. We were convinced that if center was our coach, we would have been better. We would have been fine. We wouldn't have struggled so much in the beginning part because we were all new. Yeah. The one thing Gordon did that was different than any other coach, when we practiced, we never had a first team, second team.
It was all equal.
You were responsible. Different from Sanders. Sanders, you didn't know what was going on, and that's fine. I didn't. That's fine. But when you had Gordon, you're responsible to wear whatever color jersey you had on, and there was no first team, second team.
Okay.
I think we kind of struggled with that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we weren't really meshing that well. And in the beginning of the year, I think everyone. I mean, I know I started one game. Dave Lang started one game. Jeff Hamilton started. I mean, we all started a game. And then right mid-January, that's when we had our starting five was Giglio, Dostal, Burdick, Chester, and Kelly Stritt.
So just one junior and four seniors.
Yeah.
Kelly, and you guys had a good run. I mean, I think ended up with 14 and 6.
Well, yeah, because
that's okay. 14 and 6.
So we believe it or not, that league, Mount Healthy was number one.
Yeah.
Oak Hills was number one. They were flip flopping. We lost Oak Hills by 1 at home on a really crappy call, and then we played Mount Healthy. We played horrible against them in December. We played really good against them at their place, and then we lost to McNick on a buzzer beater.
Is that right?
Was that Mount Healthy? Was that with Davenport and Bedford and all those guys? I remember those guys.
Those are great guys. They were great guys. I had no problem with them. I got in trouble one night coming home. Came home after playing Mount Healthy from Big Guy.
Oh, just because he didn't like the way you played or something?
No, so one of the kids who I don't remember said something. I don't even remember what he said, and I basically told him to F off.
Oh. And Big Guy didn't like that?
He didn't know about it, but his bosses, wife, and were sitting there, and they asked, "Hey, I can't believe Mike said." And I'm like, so when I got home from practice Monday, he goes, "Did you drop the F-bomb?" And he goes, "And don't lie." And I'm like, "How did you know that?"
I did.
And he goes, "Mr. and Mrs. Klein saw you say it."
Oh man, that's great.
So yeah, I got in a little trouble for that.
Oh my gosh,
that's pretty awesome.
Wow.
Yes.
All right, so let's move on to as we said, after softball days and the next chapter of your life, and you got married.
Got married, coached baseball.
Where at?
Tealtown for Coach Ryan's team.
Okay, so your son Ryan.
Son Ryan coached for from 4 years old to 17.
Is that right?
Yeah. So I got married to Lynn. We've been married for 25 years.
25.
Yeah.
How about that?
Ryan, coached him all those years.
Yep.
That was fun. And I did the Summit basketball program for a few years.
Yeah, that's right.
I did that. And after baseball, after all that's done, I just go watch now and enjoy it.
Well, you get to enjoy Ryan, and
I get to watch it.
Ryan had a great career.
He did. Pikeville was great for him. He's made some lifelong friends when he went to college. Baseball, he had a really good career. I mean, I'm proud of him because he stuck it out. I mean, there was times he could have just said, "The heck with it, I quit." And he didn't.
Now, how about that? He's Anderson coaching freshman baseball now.
That's awesome. And he did a really good. He did. You know what? I'm really proud of him. He did a really good job for his first year. 21. You're coaching this kid's almost the same age as you know.
Well, speaking of being 21, didn't you help coach freshmen with Danette basketball?
Jimmy Diana.
Billy Ramirez.
Billy Ramirez.
So we were sophomores.
Yeah, you were sophomores.
Okay.
Chuck Darvin?
Chucky Darvin.
Chucky Darvin.
Yeah.
Coach help.
Jim Kelly.
Can't really say I really coached. I was more the picker-upper stuff.
Like picking up the dip cans, or what were we doing?
More. I had to keep the book. I had to do stuff like that. So
Kevin Danette.
And
amazing to see Kevin Danette umpiring softball in the Metro. I used to see him all the time.
No way.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
When I was playing with Shepherd, he was.
I did not know that. Oh, my gosh.
Does something with the ECC right now.
Well, his dad was
commissioner or something. He does something with the ECC. He does,
it might even be
website.
Bigger than that. I mean, I think he was doing stuff like with Southwest Ohio.
Yeah.
Something.
His dad was the
commissioner.
County commissioner.
Yeah.
Well, before we wrap this up, I got a couple things, and I know you're probably going to hate me for doing this and bringing this back up, but I always do it when I talk to everybody. Is I want to go back to the basketball for a second. All right. I want to go back and talk about the game with Taft at Purcell.
Yep.
And it was an unreal game, and I know you're going to say you didn't, but you played very, very well, and you should have won that game. I mean, Kennard Johnson was unbelievable.
Yes.
And I kept thinking, what in the hell is Gordon doing by taking Taft, or drawing Taft or whatever? Why?
Right.
He drew him. He wanted to play Taft.
He wanted to play Taft.
And it almost worked.
Yes.
Yeah. You had some shots in the corner.
Yeah, you had some big.
No,
you had some. I
thought you did.
So I had a steal, and it went coast to coast on, and then I had Chester took a shot, and I had a tip in, and Kennard Johnson. I say it's a tip in over Kennard Johnson, but he reacted late, so that's my 4 points. That's my claim to fame.
Kennard Johnson.
We played awesome that game.
Should have won.
Bill Chester was unbelievable.
And that was his best game of the year.
You know what? Bill played he was really steady all year.
Yeah.
He was really steady. That game against Kennard, Kennard Johnson was averaging 32 points. We held him to 18.
Yeah. It's pretty strong.
18. And Bill
I remember it was hotter than blazes in that place. I mean, it was really hot. I didn't.
Kevin
so when you stole that ball, was it either was that towards the end of the game? No, I thought it was towards the end.
It was middle to late third quarter.
I mean, it was a big steal, big play, and then it wasn't.
I thought I was going to get rejected.
Who was at the end? Was Julia that took the shot at the end, or who was the one that took the shot at the end? Because you guys had the ball to try to win it, right?
Kevin took the shot to go into overtime.
Okay.
I think it bounced on the rim 3 or 4 times and went in. Yeah. To be honest with you, I don't remember.
You did go to overtime?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Kevin took the shot in overtime, and it bounced 3 or 4 times and went in. I thought we were going to get a technical because we were all on the floor.
Yeah.
So that was awesome.
Yeah. The Taft game was the toughest. That was tough.
Yeah. It was a good game. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, and we're going to do our typical thing that we do here with
here you go.
Your favorite memories. All right. So we're going to give us your favorite high school memory. We're going to start high school, college, and then maybe your favorite coach or teacher. So if you don't have a college memory that you play, so just maybe do something with Ryan.
High school, there's really 2 of them.
Give them to us.
Okay. First one was the weekend the big guy came home from the hospital.
Yeah.
We had a Friday, Saturday game.
Okay.
We played Northwest, McNick. Played absolutely horrible. And this was my junior year. Played absolutely horrible. Wouldn't go talk to big guy after the game. Wouldn't go talk to him. Played horrible. So I get up in the morning because we have a shoot around.
Yep.
Come down. He goes, all the crap I've been through, you really think I care how bad you played? And then when I got to the shoot around, Mr. Center goes, you're going to be fine. You're going to have a great game tonight. Yeah. And we lost, but I had 17. So I remember that. The other one is with Mr. Center. I struggled shooting free throws junior year. I don't know why. We were playing Turpin at Turpin. I get fouled. I go to the free throw line. I make the first one. Mr. Center calls a timeout, and I'm like, what are you doing? Because I worked with him for 2 summers, and we talked about this, and all of a sudden he kind of smacks my knee. And when you make the second one, we're going to do this. Well, I ended up making the second one. So I always remember, those are my two.
Yeah. Wow.
That's
those are my
awesome.
two.
Yeah.
I don't have a college. I will.
Oh, we could do some, like, when we were in, like, when you were in college, because I remember meeting you guys at some point. We can go that way if you want to.
I will say, for me, probably the best moment, Ryan's walk-off.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
man.
Yeah, that was cool.
By far.
God. Yeah, that was cool. And his reaction.
His reaction, but like I saw you play against Cape when you had your game. We talked about your pass. Teresa did a marathon, but Ryan's walk off. By far,
that was awesome. Yeah, that was
a great parent moment.
Lynn and I were there, and probably the part for me was I was all cool and everything, and he comes up and hugs me, and he goes, "Oh, here," and throws me the ball.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that was really cool. And then for them to announce it on television,
it was awesome. And the funny part too is Timmy texts me and goes, "What happened?" I said, "Ryan hit a walk-off," and he goes, "What the F?" I called you, what the F? Teresa, what the F? And I'm like, yeah, so.
That's awesome.
Teachers?
Yes.
Teacher, coach, whatever.
Oh, Mr. Center.
Yeah.
Mr. Center, without a question.
How about teacher?
Teacher, Mrs. Coleman.
Yeah.
Mr. Wolf and Mr. Porter. I loved history, so I had Mr. Porter. So I loved him. He made it fun.
Yeah.
So those were
Joe
That's awesome.
No, was it
Joe Porter?
Yeah, it might have been Joe Porter.
I thought it was Joe Porter.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Moose.
Well, hold on. Last question.
What?
About how you guys name.
Oh, yeah. How about that? So I want to hear your side of it. What are your visions? Because I know where I think it came from.
So where do you think it came from?
This is what I say. I remember sitting at the dinner table, eating, and there was a lot left, and some of us were still hungry. And I remember you going over and just didn't care what everybody was talking about. Might have been a pork chop or something. Moose just grabs it, eats it. I'm like, "You're such a moose." That's what I remember, and that's and then it just stuck as
because I grabbed it off your plate,
and so I said, "You're just," and I remember screaming, "You're a moose."
A little salty about that.
And then you said something during the game, and Randy Corbett picked up on it,
and then everybody started calling. Okay, well then I was right about that. That's what I thought.
Yep,
that's what I thought. So.
I mean, it's almost like rare. Even just being around other people, I don't think I hear people call you Mike.
No.
It's pretty rare. And when they do, I don't answer.
What about at work?
It's Mike.
That I do. It's Mike.
It's Mike.
And if people called and they ask for Moose, they go, "Who's Moose?"
Yeah.
So if someone calls me Mike outside of work, I have no idea.
Right.
It's funny how those names stick, like Boomer.
Yeah.
You know, we had friends with Todd Riley. His name was, we called him Boomer. I don't think anybody knew his name was Todd.
No.
When I did the Summit thing, the parents had no idea I had a name. They thought Moose was my name.
It's just amazing.
What parent would name their kid?
Big guy.
Big guy.
I'm glad the dingo didn't stick around for until after high school. I'm glad it just stuck with you know what I'm saying.
You want to go there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go?
Talk
Eddie?
about that.
Oh, we go tickle me elbow here if you want.
No, seriously, you should have been in the movie Varsity Blues.
He should have been in Animal House.
What was I going to be?
Oh, no question about that.
Been in
That's for damn sure.
So Varsity Blues, I'd have been Twitter, whatever his name was.
All right, hold on. I've never seen Varsity Blues.
Oh, Moose.
Whoa. And the show just stopped.
I'm sorry. I haven't seen it.
Well, then I would have been Blue Tarsky if I was on Animal House.
There's no doubt in my mind.
Because he was Blue Tarsky for a year.
For a year?
At Sinclair.
How old are you now?
Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
Forget it. He's rolling. Yeah.
And it ain't over now.
Yeah. And he hasn't slowed down
like
since.
I said, when Belushi died, his spirit went into you.
I mean, Belushi and Farley just killed me. When
Belushi died, his good spirit went into you.
Well, you know what? I brought this up when he died. When Belushi died, it was on the way to Miami of Ohio for the Anderson-Moore game.
Was.
I remember
right?
I remember getting on the bus.
Yeah,
I remember getting on the bus.
Wow.
And that's when it happened.
Yeah.
Was the Anderson-Moore game.
Yes, that's.
How about that?
Yep.
So, Moose, we appreciate it, man. It's been awesome.
Thank you, Moose.
Getting you on
No
here.
problem. Thanks,
so,
Gus.
my goal was to get you right around at 75 podcasts, and I think we're at 75, 76. So, my goal was to string you out as long as I can. I think we strung you out long enough.
Fine.
So, now we appreciate you joining us, Moosey.
Didn't really think I would get on here.
Oh, come on now.
My credentials aren't that big.
Oh, Moose.
Not like some of these other guys.
No,
it's all good.
Yeah, Moose, that was awesome. So we really appreciate you joining us.
Thanks.
No, honestly, there'll be people that you haven't seen for a long time. They'll be happy
Say something too. Yeah,
Oh, that'd be cool.
to catch up with
That'd be
you.
cool. I'd like to hear from
That's
them.
awesome. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So again, this podcast is being sponsored by Summit Estates, Anderson Township, Nick Grad. Jim Serger, his latest book, 9/11, A Time to Always Remember, is on sale now nationwide. Over 90 Americans from coast to coast are in this book, including folks from McNick, Turpin, Anderson, including yours truly, myself, and Steve, the host of this podcast. And these books are available where they're sold.
Go
or
get it.
JimSerger.com.
Go get it.
Got to do it. So we really appreciate Jim Serger
Thank you, Jimmy.
sponsoring this podcast and the rest of the month. So we really appreciate it. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So for Steve Ellis, Dan Albers, and Moose Albers,
That's it.
You've been listening to This Week on Anderson. We'll catch you next week.